It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
Welcome back to SportSense, everyone. This is the show where we break down sports news for sports noobs. I'm Cooper Epps, here to learn about sports and sports culture from my dad, James Epps. Let's get into it. Hey, Dad, welcome back to SportSense after your sabbatical.
1 week off as a sabbatical. That's you tough. You tough on me. I enjoyed my our vacation birthday week.
Yeah.
Your mom and I, we have birthdays, of course, March 11th and 12th, and we generally do things together.
You never know when the last birthday is now, so you got to really make a to-do out of it.
That's just ugly. I mean, I'm young. I'm young. I am one of those times, you know how you get a set of numbers, if you like numbers, I've got
Sure.
666, right? Mom said I need to add another 6 to that, and that describes me pretty well. But I thought that wasn't nice either.
That is, yeah. Wow, you've been getting it from all sides this week.
Taking it on the chin. But 666, that's pretty cool. I mean, next one will be 77. It's getting a lot worse, so I got to hold on to my 66. No, I'm ready. Yep, we had a good week, and who do I have to thank for subbing for us?
So
Michael,
you gotta
Josh.
tune in and see what he said. But yeah,
I saw it, and I forgot his name already.
Mike Moser. So
Mike, that's it.
I'm in the habit of calling him Moser because we were missionaries together. So I just knew him as Elder Moser. But yeah, Mike, we've been done with our missions for 10 years, so it's about time I start calling him Mike. But he made the mistake of inviting me to a Utah Mammoth game the week before, and so he was top of mind for me. And when I wanted to give you a break for your birthday, you're like I said, just top of mind. I knew he was super into basketball. I'm not sure. I think it's his favorite sport, but I'll have to double check with him. And at least it's probably the one he's most knowledgeable about. So yeah, he did a great job. And we talked about more kind of broad basketball principles with the different positions and strategies of teams and coaches. So like how they might approach one team versus another, but then what's their overall play style through a season and how do they modify that? So
Good.
If you guys are interested in that, make sure to go back to last week's episode and get a load of that. The week before that, Dad broke down all the different fouls and violations, the things that either penalize a team or just turn over the ball, which is also penalizing the team, but things that just stop play and turn over the ball. So that was really, really helpful. Macy and I watched a couple basketball games since that episode.
Yeah.
And we were watching, that player has 3 fouls. So they're putting him on the bench. They're going to save him for later. We started to notice different strategic things like that.
It makes it that much richer, right? Yeah, much richer. You see the more strategy. You'll see the flow and how it changes the flow. I mean, it can stop and track. Your star player all of a sudden gets 4 fouls. It changes the whole makeup of the game potentially. Yeah. And you see technicals get called. You see, it's important to know all that. I think I appreciate the game a little bit more.
It helps give some benchmarks along the way because I was listening to a huge baseball fan, and even he, and you'll see where I'm going with this, but even he with baseball was like, I love baseball, always have, but it's pretty much only exciting at the end most times. And he said, and I was just thinking that's how I feel about basketball, is that it's pretty much only exciting at the end when there's a 2 or 3 point difference. There's a last minute buzzer beater shot, or last second, I should say. And so anyways, learning about the fouls and how there's consequences throughout the game that affect the team's trajectory definitely makes it more interesting to watch the entirety of a basketball game, I think, than it used to for me. So yeah, that was good. Yeah. So listeners, if you're interested in having that moment of enlightenment like I had, go back a couple weeks ago when we talked about
I'm proud
fouls.
of you and Macy putting it into action.
By sitting
That's
on the
great.
couch and watching some ball.
Yeah.
Well,
you put your mind into action with it. So you
yeah.
interacted with the game in some mental way.
Knowledge is power in some parts of life, and knowledge is just entertainment. I'm learning in sports. Like the more you know, definitely the more entertaining it is. So
I agree with that. I had never thought of it that way because it's so ingrained and innate in me. You know what I mean? I don't think I've never thought, but now it makes a lot of sense to me from your perspective.
Okay, well, it is now time for the March Madness college basketball tournament. So men's and women's are going on simultaneously.
Yep. Getting ready to. Yep.
We're going to mostly be talking about men's, I believe, in this episode, just because.
Correct.
It's a lot of basketball. It's already a lot to try to tackle one tournament bracket in one episode. And plus, that's just what we know about.
Yeah, if you don't follow a lot of the women's, what is interesting to at least check over to the women's if you don't follow a lot of the women's and find your universities, right? Or your favorite schools, at least to check in and see if they made the tournament. Where are they? What's the deal? Anyway, I will say women's in the past, there's truly, I mean, it's your blue bloods, the top schools have always been that way in the men too, but the women, there were like 4 schools for a while, or even 2 or 3 schools for a while that just dominated women so much before NIL, especially, that it was kind of really boring. Very few upsets. Same team won, either South Carolina or UConn. Those are your UConn forever, UConn women's. And then South Carolina's come on the last decade. And those were the 2 top teams.
Anyway, sounds like the only decent thing to come from South Carolina.
Okay. Yeah. Let's be careful. I mean, I agree, but I don't want to say that publicly. Now there's some good things. South Carolina got a few good things, but they are secondary when it comes to the Carolinas. I hear these people go, "Oh, we love the Carolinas." And I go,
you don't.
Come on now. You're most things you were just talking about were all North Carolina. So let's straighten out.
Yeah.
All right. Before we jump into that, I had 2 quick things. 2 quick things to note. One, especially for our family's sake who loves baseball, World Baseball Classic has been going on, right? If you kept up in it, anyway, which is perfect time of the year. They slip it in right before March Madness. They slip it in right after the Super Bowl.
Can you give just a quick definition of what that event is and how often it happens?
It's by your country. All the baseball players. So all these pro players, the best in the world, who most of them play in the major leagues, right? They play in major leagues, or they play in the leagues in Japan. They've got some big league over there, and of some others. But they come play for their home country. And the home countries compete before even the real season, even the workouts hardly start for Major League Baseball. And it's something that was manufactured, if you will, for interest. I think the driving principle was, from Major League Baseball standpoint and other baseball lovers, to increase the exposure of baseball through the world. Right.
Okay.
Japan has been big on it for a long time, but I'm going to rename one of the teams, and this has a familial touch to it. That's why I'm going to throw it in there. So it's really meant to promote it, right? Like I heard one guy talking about it today. One of the announcers talking says, "How cool would it be if you get even an extra 50 kids in Great Britain who watch this and go, I want to play baseball. Nobody plays baseball." Trying to really expand and export the great game of baseball, because that is the American game, right? Created in here in America. We've created it from the beginning.
So it's a bunch of baseball missionaries going out to convert people.
Absolutely. And interesting enough, so in South America, Central America, the Caribbean, all those have produced so many great baseball players. Might have been invented in the United States, but the great majority of the players some of our greatest are Hispanic now, right? Unbelievable, taking over the sport. But anyway, so that's what it is. But think about what we just went through, the Olympics, the pride of country. Well, there's an extra buzz. I mean, they've been playing, like when they go down and play in Miami, one of these games, you got Puerto Ricans, Venezuelans, you got them all down. And like the Braves' best player plays for Venezuela, I guess. I get them all confused, Venezuela. So it's fun to see them. They don't play on the U.S. teams. They all go to their home countries. And there's so much pride. It's like the soccer matches in the world. A little bit of this comes from some of these countries. There's so much country pride. So anyway, really cool. The U.S. stubbed their toe and they got lucky, and they're going to make it. Anyway, they won. They're going to make it. They're in the final now. They're in the finals. But guess who is playing tonight with a chance to get to the finals? It's the team that's upset a few people, and it's hilarious. Italy.
No idea.
Italy.
Oh, I have heard a little bit about
yes.
Italy. Yeah.
That's why I wanted to bring this up. So, we know, your sister-in-law, my daughter-in-law, Lillian, mother's Italian, And we have loved to attach ourselves to the Italian family there. But how cool is that? I mean, that's crazy that they.
So have they not had much of a baseball history before?
No. Italy.
Okay.
There's soccer, all soccer. Yeah, Italy. Yeah. So that's what made it fun, right? To me, it's fun that Italy has snuck in there and disturbed the whole order of things. But they're playing tonight. I can't even remember who they're playing, but they're probably
so
playing.
Is it kind of like Olympic teams where because I'm guessing there's not enough Italian players in the MLB to make up a team.
Correct. Correct.
There's
probably nobody
to join.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or they get somebody's family's related, who's been there, their grandmother. You do get some blends of some of the teams. But anyway, that's all. Don't want to spend much time on it other than it's cool and it's a lot of attention being paid to it, and it's grown every year, and it's a lot of fun for the true baseball lovers and who love country versus country. It's a lot of fun. So anyway.
It is. Yeah, it's a chance. That's what I'm learning about some of these special sporting events is that it's a chance to just have a little bit of national pride for your country. It's kind of like Olympics, out of season Olympic event almost.
Yeah, absolutely. So that feeds right into my last item. We're going to put a bow on the Olympics. So did you know for the first time ever, the U.S. won all 3 hockey gold medals, men's, women's, and paraplegic or the Paralympics?
Yes. Macy,
that's the first time ever. Yeah.
So hilarious. I mean, and amazing. We should say amazing. It's rude of me to say hilarious, but it is just so, like you said, first time. And we beat Canada in all of those for the gold,
right?
From what I understand. And so it's just a tough year to be a Canadian. Like we've laughed enough on this show. I won't laugh anymore. I'm sorry, but you've
done most of the laughing. I've been very careful about my
you
my
have
Canadian
better sportsmanship. Yeah, you have better sportsmanship than me. But it's just on an internet level, it is when you're just observing these things in passing, just cursory glances at these sporting headlines. When you keep seeing USB Canada, USB Canada, USB Canada, just one after another, and in different sports and different events, it is laughable at some point. So.
We didn't give the Paralympics their just due, but we had to congratulate them for their win because that finished it off.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know those Olympics were going on. So
they always go right on the tail end, so that's the way they can financially afford it all. They have the venue, they have everything, and they just transition right after that. They transition into the Paralympics.
Okay. Right after,
not of course, not the same
Olympics.
events, not as many of the same events. A lot of them similar, but so it's modified, right? They're modified to what they can, but it's pretty cool. They go to the same host country, they do all that. It's a big deal. Cool. It's really cool. I love it for the Olympians.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's it. Man, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I want to throw those 2 things.
I wish I didn't even, like I said, I didn't even know that was going on until Macy sent me a meme about the Paralympic hockey team gold against Canada. So, thanks for mentioning it. And next time when we have the Summer Olympics, I definitely want to pay more attention to the Paralympic events after the main Olympic events. So, okay, well, let's get into basketball a little bit.
Sounds good.
You taught me, Dad, a few weeks ago about a certain special day for sporting fans, especially basketball fans, and that was yesterday, entitled Selection Sunday,
correct,
which is either thrilling or ominous and depressing, depending on which team you are. Because from what I saw, all these teams around the country, a lot, if you're Duke or whatever, you're playing great, you expect to get in. It's probably not a big surprise, but a lot of these other teams are waiting just, on the edge of their seat, seeing if they'll, what seed they'll get, which we could talk about seeds, or if they'll even get in, right? Is that a question for some of these teams?
Oh, absolutely. They're called bubble teams. The bubble teams. They're on the bubble. Okay. And traditionally it's always been 64 teams. NCAA a few years back decided to make it a little bit more exciting, and they call it so they have a play-in game almost. There's 8 teams who play 4 games, and they call them the first four in the tournament. They're the ones that play. So they actually play tomorrow on Tuesday, right? Yeah. Before any of the other games, so they could travel, and then the games start on Thursday. So the first 4 play tomorrow night. And interesting, and we'll talk about that. So yes, but you already hit on it. One of the biggest things is there's 2 actually parts. You said what seed. So seeding is 1 through 16 in each region. Let's go ahead and break it down real quick. You do a good job help remind me to go to basics. 4 regions in the country, geographic regions, right?
Just north, south, east, west. Is it that simple?
They actually do east, south, west, and Midwest. Don't ask me why. Okay. But that's the 4 breakout regions. And each of those regions have 16 teams. So you got 1 through 16 seed. Your 16 seed, if you're number 1 seed, they're the best in that region. So they will get to play the number 16 seed. So 16th, and I don't want to call them the worst, but they're the least accomplished, and they got to play the number 1 seed. And so and then you know how it goes from there. 2 plays 15, 3 plays 14, and then you get to 8 plays 9. I guess is how it goes. So that's how the seeding works. But what's even more important sometimes is, where are you playing? Where does my team have to fly to go? And where do they fly to on the second weekend if they make it through? If they get to Sweet 16, where did they have to come back cross country? And there's a little note on that I'll share today. So where are they playing? So do they have a fan base that can get to them? How big are, it's all those things plays into it, and what seed. And sometimes the luck of the seed, sometimes you play a team, you just, what Mike probably covered some last week, maybe your team just isn't. Some teams are built to play against other teams better than others. One team might have had a great record all year. The other team might have had a mediocre record, but for whatever reason, they don't match up so well together. Like the underdog team might have a really great big center who defends the rim real well, right? Blocks a bunch of shots. And the other team just, man, they're not used to that. They're used to driving, scoring in layups or steal, whatever. So you do kind of look at seeding is very important. Who is it that you're playing? Sometimes you don't match up as well as others. So sometimes that's why you see some pretty big upsets. Okay.
Yeah. I was about to ask if that's why you see big upsets.
Well, no, I'm saying that can lead to them for sure. Yeah. Sometimes. Anyway. So let's just talk a little bit about some of the matchups, some of the teams, the number 1 seeds. You heard me talk about Jay Billis before, right? He played for Duke way back when. He's got a law degree. He is very bright. A lot of people don't like him, but a lot of people love him. But he's the real cerebral one on ESPN, right? He's the one that does you'll go right now, you'll see he's the number 1 click on and see he predicts every game for the whole tournament. Last year, interesting enough, everybody gave him a hard time for doing what we call, remember we talked about this chalk, right? Picking nothing but the favored, the higher seed, the better seed, the higher seed they call
matchup.
Yeah. And he did, because he picked all 4 number 1 seeds to go to the Final 4. He picked the right teams, Houston and Florida, right? It was Houston and Florida to go to the final. Anyway, he picked it perfect all the way through. Not each win, but the Final 4 were his 4 with number 1 seeds. They all went. He picked the championship game and he picked the winner. So he goes, and he wrote it this time. He says, "So thank you. And yes, I forgive you all for giving me such a hard time last year." Interesting enough, this year, I'll quickly cover his at the end. He did not go all number 1 seeds. That's for sure, to the Final 4. Some interesting picks he's got this year. But I got to give you a little quick history, because I doubt you're going to know this. What? Go ahead.
I'll just say something before I forget. When I said Selection Sunday earlier, I totally forgot to define it for anybody who doesn't know. It's just where they announce. You've probably derived this from our information so far already, but it's just where they select which teams are in the final bracket for this college basketball tournament. So
they make a show out of it, right? Like they do everything else now on ESPN. It's big. They got cameras all around the country and all the different schools, a lot of the different schools, to show their reaction if they're chosen. So it's a pretty big production now. Many years ago, NCAA would just put it out and it would get reported.
Oh, they would just say, "Here's the bracket.
Yeah, here it is.
Post it on the door."
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Good luck. Have a good. But cool. ESPN and other sports, they're a lot smarter.
Yeah. Okay, well, sorry to interrupt your thoughts, your flow.
No, you were right. I blew right over you on that. I'm sorry.
But were you about to get into kind of your initial reactions?
Almost. I was going to give you a little history lesson.
Oh, yes, history. Okay. Exciting.
I didn't know this first part of it. I'd heard about the other. So what someone might ask, where does this term March Madness come from?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a reasonable question.
I mean, I guess I figured it's just a nickname from the audience.
But it had to start from somewhere, right?
Okay. Yeah. So do we know who coined it?
We do. Interesting enough. The very first one was the letters HV Porter. He was an Illinois high school association official in 1939. He wrote an essay about Illinois high school football playoff basketball, and he called it March Madness. Now, that didn't get picked up for 43 years later, where Brent Musburger, a famous sports announcer, started in 1982, and that's, by the way, the year Jordan helped Carolina win the national championship, 82. That's when he started at the beginning of the NCAA playoffs. He used that term that whole time.
Was he digging through the archives, or did
I don't know?
Have the same idea, the same thought?
He was old then to me. He went for a long time, and he's from the Midwest, so I think he just had some what do they call it? Just
maybe there's a regional
historical knowledge. I think he had, yes, definitely. Anyway, so that's a little bit of history. It is, and from that point on, it caught on. From the time Brent Musburger started using it that year, it became building more and more about March Madness. And then it became the brand, exactly, as you know better than I do. I just thought that was kind of fun. That's kind of
cool.
Fun. All right. You got anything you want to ask before I start and give you some people to ask about and teams to ask about?
I was just curious. Yeah. When you saw the bracket for your first time, were you shocked by anything, or what were your thoughts all around?
I don't, of course, I don't have time to learn when you're dealing with what ended up being 68 teams, 68 teams to start, because you got the play-in game, but 64 teams. There's so many. Remember, a lot of teams get in because they win their conference. And no offense to the conference, but maybe there's several that are very small conferences. That's the fun. That's the beauty of the fabric of it. I love it. And that's where you get the chance for Cinderella teams to win one game or maybe two games. Those teams never go and win a national championship. They just are not going to, they don't have the talent level or the depth, but it's fun to cheer for them like crazy, right? Everybody cheers for them, but they usually don't win. So I don't have all these different conferences. They got their conference champions in here. And what I find interesting are some of the ones, there were a couple of teams, interesting enough, I think Utah Valley University right there in your home area, they blew a lead at the very end of their conference championship, and they should have won it, and they should have been in a tournament. They lost, and they're out. They're not in the tournament. Yeah. So we have things like that happen. There's some close calls. Mostly it's because it's the conference championship or the game, or the season championship. It depends for the season. Anyway, there were some crazy close calls during those games that cost some teams a chance to get in, but they were smaller ranked teams, right? The higher ranked teams are all going to get in. It's just where are they going to play and what seed are they going to be? But here's a couple things. One, I don't know if you were keeping up this year with a team of Miami, Ohio.
Miami,
they're small.
Ohio.
Yeah, they're in the MAC conference thing, Middle American Conference.
What does that mean, Miami, Ohio? Is that a city in Ohio?
Yes. Miami. So it's the difference of you saying you got to differentiate, right? You start talking about Miami, everybody, of course, thinks of Miami University down in Florida, right?
Yeah.
So this is Miami, Ohio, just so everybody knows that's the small school they're talking about.
And it's called Miami Ohio University.
Yeah, put a little pause in it. It's Miami, Ohio. It's University of Miami is what it is. University of Miami in Ohio.
Put a pause in it. Miami, Ohio.
Miami, Ohio. So
University. Let's see.
Yeah, see what their official name is.
I guess it's called Miami, Ohio. Miami University is what they're called.
Right. And then everybody puts Ohio there.
Okay. They just put Ohio, OH in parentheses to clarify. That's what hilarious.
I said. Put a pause on it. That's all I've always heard. Everybody say Miami, Ohio of Ohio. Okay. All right. Anyway, so they're very neat. They've had a great run this year. From whence they come. If you look back at their history, I think the last 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, they were terrible, and they were drawing about 200 fans a game. Now their arena holds 10,400, I believe, somewhere. So this year they got on a run, and they made improvements last year. They got a new coach. This year they were 31-0. Only undefeated in the Now they don't play they play teams within their conference or teams that look a lot like them. They're still and UMass. So here's a team you probably heard, UMass. UMass is in their conference, and there's some other teams you would know, small school. Anyway, so 31-0, been undefeated, and they went to play in their tournament. The MAC tournament. I think it's MAC, the MAC tournament. And they lost the first game to UMass, who they had beaten earlier in the year. So now they're 31-1. So the only thing that's been a little stinky for this team, and sports analysts have not been happy. They felt like they earned a right to get a little bit better seed. All because they lost that first game of the tournament. They really messed themselves up. They're in a play-in game. They're playing SMU.
They're in the first four.
Yes, SMU. And SMU's pretty good. They play in a big conference, of course. ACC is, I guess we're now SC.
What's SMU? Southern
Methodist University.
Oh, okay.
So some people feel like they got ripped a little bit, that they have to do that. So I just want to talk about them because this is crazy. So they went to just a few short years ago to 200 fans a game to 10,000 sellouts. And then the coach, I heard him interview briefly today. The coach said, he goes, believe me, we love our community. They have loved us. This has been great. He says, but it shows you got to win. You got to win. He said, and what's been crazier is there's been tickets online selling for $400 and $500 and $600 to get down near the court. Now for them, they were giving tickets away and couldn't get anybody to come just a few years ago. So isn't that fun? That's a team. I'm giving you one of the teams that's, everybody should pull for. I want to see them win a game or two. It would be so much fun. So that's kind of I really didn't do well when you thought about, okay, could we find a villain and a hero? I'll tell you about a villain maybe, but the hero is not one of the big teams. The hero to me is this little Miami of Ohio team. That's the one I would highlight for the true underdog who really, I don't care who you are, what team you are, to win 31 straight games. That's a lot of pressure when they were getting pressure back when they'd won like 15, 16, 17 games in a row. And they just kept on winning. So anyway, that's enough time on them.
Yeah, it feels like the shoe's going to drop at some point, no matter who you are.
Sure, it's going to. Oh, yes. No matter how, you're going to have an off night. Well, they didn't have an off night till the first night they played their conference tournament. But hey, I love that they're in, and I think they're a great story, and they're worth pulling for and paying attention to.
Cool.
Now, I would not put them to go far in your bracket. Don't misunderstand, but maybe they'll win a game or two. All right. The only other thing I had in terms of disruption, and you won't probably know this coach's name. I mentioned him before, but he went back to his old school of St. John's. His name's Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino was one of the most famous coaches he's 73. And you listen to him, he seems like a 40-year-old crazy coach. That's how much energy he's got.
Okay.
Rick Pitino went to multiple schools, and I think he's won national championship. I can't remember where it was, Kentucky, I think maybe. But all my adult life, it seems like he's been coaching. He's been coaching. He started coaching at 22, 23. So he's been coaching 51 years.
He looks like young and old at the same time. He looks like a young skeleton.
Doesn't he look like a little bit like an Italian mobster also? Just a little bit? Could you see that?
He's got like a sharp, dark black suit with a...
Well, he's
sharp.
Yeah. So during the traditional times of the NCAA, and this is all I'll say, I don't want to besmirch his name, but he besmirched his own name. He had a lot of violations and issues for a lot of years in the old days of recruiting violations, if you know what I mean.
Before NIL.
Before. So he's one of the guys that I think this is why he's still coaching now. Hey, you get to do everything above board now. Table, it's a lot easier on him. So he's back coaching again. Yeah, he had some problems along the way, but two things: he is an incredible recruiter and a great coach. I mean, he really is both. So his team, he turned around St. John's. St. John's been in doldrums for years and years and years, and he brought them back to relevancy this year. And they're the only ones that feel a little ripped off. I think the worst. They got a 5th seed, and really they should have probably been a 3rd seed. And not only that, they're the first. They're a team that's got they're East Coast, right? New York City or somewhere up there in that New York area. They got to go from there to play on the West Coast on their first game, their first weekend. If they win that and get in the Sweet 16, they got to come all the way back east and play. Their matchups are bad, tough. I mean, if there's any team that's probably maybe got penalized somehow, I don't know why. And I think the good comparison is Virginia of the ACC, who really they went 0-for against Duke, 0-for against Carolina, 0-for against all the top teams, and they got a number 3 seed. So
what are you saying? 0-for?
0-for, meaning they didn't beat Duke or Carolina this year in the ACC.
Okay.
They didn't beat any of the real top ranked teams at all. They didn't have one win. So they went 0-4 or 0-5. 0-for means 0-for. Have you not heard? Have I not said 0-for before? Probably.
I don't think so. So yeah, because
you'll
say like, oh, they're 20-10, 20 wins, 10 losses. Right. But you're saying against this certain category of teams,
or certain against. Right.
And however many losses.
Right.
Okay.
0-for. So
okay.
Things just come out, Coop, things just come out. So Virginia's the ones from our ACC and all, but they have a number 3 seed, probably got an extra seed higher than it should have in St. John. So there, how you're looking for a little bit of disgruntledness, if you were wondering. That's one of the areas said. Now, all that said, there's a few interesting things that's happened. I hate go ahead.
Can I ask one thing in general?
Ask all you want. Yeah.
What? So what are these schools that you hear about in March Madness that you never hear about with any other sport, but they seem pretty good at basketball? Like, especially these like religious schools, St. John's, St. Mary's, Miami, Ohio that you told me about. Akron, I'm seeing an Akron in this bracket.
Ohio, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kennesaw State,
Georgia,
like High Point, like
High Point,
what is like is?
See, remember what I said first of all about conferences? Those schools you all named right, they're all in small conferences.
Okay,
and the NCAA says, I don't care what you got a conference and you're a member of the NCAA, your conference champion goes to the tournament.
Okay.
So these teams a lot of them aren't great, right? Relative to Duke, Michigan.
Yeah.
Do you understand? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I'm seeing, North Dakota State, Northern Iowa. Does that all fit the description
yes,
of what
they're
you're
all
saying?
conference for small conferences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I was just like, maybe these are universities that have only invested in basketball their whole.
No, a lot of them have. A lot of them have football programs, but you can see how the ones who can't. Football is the most expensive, and if you're in a small school, small conference with small revenue, you might very well not fund football, but you will definitely can fund basketball. 12 players, few coaches. Yeah. You see how the funding is a lot less to travel, all that stuff. Yeah.
Cheaper.
So I think college football has 100 Division I maybe has 129, 20, 28, 30 teams. Division I basketball has 360 or 70.
Gotcha.
Does that give you an idea how? Yeah.
Right. Easier to afford a basketball team than a football or anything else probably.
And think about where you can play too versus big stadium.
Play anywhere.
Versus pretty much, you could get a small field house or gym or whatever, build. And most of them have it already on their campuses. Does that make sense? So you can. It's just, everything about it.
You can find a local. You can find a local church, play a game there if you need to.
Local YMCA, whatever it takes, because basketball is basketball.
Cool. Okay. All right, keep going.
I'm just wrapping up with a few things. One, I hate to bring up. So don't forget think about the players. So football, I'm bad about this sometimes. We're talking. These are still so many of them are kids. Even the quote old veteran players in college are 22.
Okay.
And 23 maybe. Maybe some rare 24-year-old. Uh-huh. But most of them are 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old. So in the real world, they're really young, right? And they're guys, men, they make they're stupid mistakes. So one of the teams who's really good, and just a couple of years ago, really had a chance for national championship. I don't know if you saw this. Alabama's star player, we'll see how this plays out, got arrested in the early AM this morning for felony marijuana charges. So
Really?
they're a number 4 seed, and they have a good
thought
team.
Marijuana was kind of all good these days.
It depends
in the eyes of the law.
Not in Alabama, baby. You can get 10 years of prison. The reason it's felony, Cooper, is apparently the quantity he had. I don't know how much, but there's a quantity determines, right? And also, are you selling it? That's another big distribution is another definite felony if you're selling.
Right.
I don't know. All I know is they said felony pot charge, marijuana.
Dang.
So I bring it up just to remind everybody that these are kids. They make mistakes. They do stupid things. And if you're a coach, this is why I would have died of a heart attack at age 50 if I coached college basketball and my whole career and my livelihood depended on some of these kids, these boys, because they go out and do something like this, just after your SEC tournament. And I guess who knows? They might not. I mean, nowadays he might go in and get arraigned and have a court date in July. And it might be right on the border. It might be minor enough. They might drop it to a misdemeanor. Right. Yeah. I don't know. What I'm saying is that coach is scrambling because today's Monday and they play Thursday or Friday. So, that's one of the crazy things I guess I'm bringing up, that these are kids playing. These are not cyborgs all playing on these things. These are
you're
kids
dealing with real humans. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And not just humans, but kids.
Yes. I bring that up to say, hopefully he'll be all right. He can get help and he's repentant and that he could play. If that he goes, oh, I really screwed up here. Maybe he'll learn from it anyway. So Alabama, if you had them, you might want to. It's still undetermined whether he's going to play or not.
Interesting. Of course,
their
first matchup looks like it's against Hofstra, which
a northeastern
I've heard
school,
of them like once.
Another northeastern school, I think.
But I'm guessing they're not too much of a threat to Alabama.
No, not the first round.
Yeah, just based.
But we'll see what happens. Just throw that out there. You know how you like some drama.
You did bring the juice this episode, so thank you. Yeah,
you didn't have it, so I brought it for you for this.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I did. You referenced it earlier, but I had texted Dad earlier saying, "Who's a villain and a hero in this tournament that I can keep an eye on, coach or player or whatever?" So, do you have any answers now, Dad, as far as individuals? Is there anybody that you're looking out for in particular that you're just for entertainment value?
No, I think I just mentioned the coach. He used to be a villain everywhere, and that's Rick Pitino. Now it's kind of funny. I'm looking at him now maybe as, I'm kind of want to see. I'd love to see him make a run against the old guard, right?
Okay.
I like chaos and disruption, except when it comes to my teams.
Okay.
So I'd love to see Rick Pitino and St. John's cause a lot of disturbance this year. Other than that, no, I do have a couple of favorite teams. I guess I'd like to see do well. Here's a couple of notes for you. The NIL really, and this is a former BYU coach. So, where Mark Pope coaches for Kentucky. Well, they spent $20 million on their roster this year.
Ooh.
And they've had a subpar year. Oh. Now, mostly because of, and I think he's a really good coach, but he's the one that left BYU, right, to take the Kentucky job, where he won a national championship, which is great. But they've had a lot of injuries and issues and challenges and problems and beat down. So hopefully they'll get a little bit of a good run. But I thought that was interesting of note that you could spend that much money and they're like a number 7 seed or something. They're limping into the tournament. So it's just an interesting note, right? Blue blood program, mega bucks, and some years it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So even with a great coach, a great guy.
Interesting.
All right. So here's a couple of what? Go ahead.
Oh, you got more. Okay.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. Hang on. I'll finish strong with some interesting stuff. So do you know who the number, we got to quickly touch the number. There's 4 number 1 seeds.
Okay. Yeah. Let's look.
Duke is, and this is just for ego purposes as far as I'm concerned. They always rank the top number 1 seed of the whole 64. Duke is number 1 across. They're number one
of the whole tournament. Okay,
the whole tournament, and then there's Arizona, Florida, and Michigan. Now Michigan's coming in kind of limping and not on the best roll right now. But those are your 4 number 1 seeds. Just FYI.
And who won last year?
Florida, right? Let's Google it real quick. So. I think they beat Houston. I think I have Houston winning last year. Maybe I can't remember.
Yeah, it was Florida against Houston. Florida won by 2 points.
Yes, unbelievable game. I remember that.
Okay.
So this year, I mean, I don't know what. I'm not going to tip my hand completely because I'm not sure which ones I'm going to pick for most of my brackets. But this is an interesting stat. Right now, they're really, I think the gut feeling is Arizona might win this thing. That's like the majority of the experts, I think, watching are paying attention. Now, here's something really fascinating I just learned about Arizona today. We, watch them. We play against them. BYU, they lose. They're so good. They're just so good. But this is what I didn't know. I knew one fact. They have 3 freshmen starting on their starting 5. Crazy.
Wow.
And they're really the best in the country, them and Duke. I think they might be a little bit better than Duke. But here's what's crazy. You know how we've talked about the 3 points, the 3-point shot, the 3-point attempt, how that's changed the game, and so many teams take so many of them. And if you can't make 3-pointers, you can't win, right? I mean, that's kind of what they've made the world think. Arizona ranks 358, I think, out of 360 for 3-point attempts in the game this year.
Whoa. Okay.
And
so
yet
favoring 2-point shots.
Exactly. And yet their number basically been number 1 or 2 and 3 in the country all year. And 31-2, I think 31-2 is their record.
Okay.
That's a stat that's worth noting because it's so atypical. It's completely the antithesis of what's been being used and played for strategy. Remember how y'all talked strategy last one? Is that 3-point play. Crazy, right? I just think that's so amazing.
So what do you think they're doing right that's making the lower point?
Oh, they're just so they're real team oriented and they just pound it inside. They just go inside, get a lot of free throws, free throw attempts, and they're really good in their free throws. They play a great team ball. Yeah. Great team ball. They just don't shoot that many threes. They don't have to. They can do so much on the inside. They can make the mid-range jumper. They can do all. They're just a really well-balanced team. But those 3 freshmen, if they can win the national championship, now I've already found disputation on this because I heard a guy on Fox Sports today, one of the big-time sports analysts he said, if Arizona wins with 3 starting freshmen, they've started all year. I think that's his caveat. They have started all year, every game. That if they win, they'll be only the 2nd team ever to do that in the NCAA. And the last team to do it was Kentucky in 2012.
Okay.
Now, I think the caveat is Duke did it in 2015, but I don't think they've started all 3 freshmen the bulk of the year. I think they end up starting it during the tournament or there's some caveat in there. But bottom line is very rare.
Right.
Very
Obviously,
rare.
Yeah, freshmen don't usually lead a team to all the way to the championship.
And 3 of your 5 players, right? 3 of your top 5 players are all freshmen and do it. So anyway,
wow.
Thought that was cool. I think Arizona has a great shot. I think the state of Michigan, those fans ought to be thrilled because you got Michigan. I'm sorry. So I meant to tell you. So Jay Billis, I'm going to put a bow on him. Jay Billis didn't pick the 4 number 1s. He picked Michigan, a number 3 seed to be in the Final Four. Arizona, a number 1 seed. He picked Illinois, a number 3 seed, and he picked Michigan State, the other Michigan team, a number 3 seed. He's got 1 number 1 seed and 3 number 3 seeds to go to the Final Four.
Well, Michigan is a number 1 seed, remember?
No, they're number 3 seed in the tournament.
You mean overall in the tournament?
No, they're just a number 3 in their region. They're number 3
because in the Midwest, Michigan University, right?
They are in the East.
Midwest.
Look at your bracket.
East. Yes. Michigan State is in the East.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay.
Michigan's number 1. I'm sorry. How'd I put that?
Okay.
You're right. It's Michigan State. Michigan State's the number 3 seed. Michigan State's the number 3. So they got 2 number 1 seeds and 2 number 3 seeds.
Yeah.
But that's just what Billis has got this year. And I think it's pretty cool if you're Michigan, which we know a family that's all from Michigan who used to work for me. They got to be thrilled. They're U of M. They always say they're U of M people. They hate Michigan State. But bottom line is their state's got 2 teams that look really good this year.
Yeah,
all right. So that says that.
Well,
I think what? Go ahead.
While you're on it, Michigan State has the one villain I want to keep an eye out on that I know about as a player. And I mentioned him last week, but for those who didn't listen last week, there's a guy named Jeremy Fears Jr., like fear of God.
Like fear him.
Jeremy Fears, great name. Do you know him, Dad?
Other than I think I know who. Maybe they've compared him to a certain NBA player that's rough and tumble and
he's dirty.
Gets into all sorts of trouble and technical fouls. So I have heard of him. But that's all. I don't know.
So that's what I basically have seen a highlight reel of him kicking up his leg behind him, and he'll kick up in the crotch of another player mid play, just lightning fast, and the refs don't always catch it. But when they do, he gets a technical.
That's a great villain. See, that's perfect. I'm glad you gave us him.
Just speaking of Michigan State, that's someone to keep an eye out for.
All right. Well, I'll watch that. All right. So the final on this all is, it'll be interesting when it finishes up. I think we all have till Wednesday at noon, right? Or is it Thursday at noon, whenever before you don't have to do the brackets before the first four, right? The first four, those games will play out. So it'll be Thursday. I think by noon you have to have your brackets done. Okay. But interesting, up to this point, if you go in right now and look at ESPN, which last year, I can't remember what they have, 20 million people participate. 20 million brackets. I can't remember. It's tens of millions brackets.
It's already up about 10 million right now.
There you go. So right now, there'll be a lot more added. But right now, interesting enough, these are the teams, the top 6 teams and the percentage in which they are the pick to win it all, right? To be the champion. Duke leads with 26%.
Wow.
Crazy. I didn't think they would this year. Duke leads at 26%. Arizona is second at 19%. So those are your top. Michigan, 14.5%. So those are really the top. I do believe those are the top 3 best teams, bar none, in the tournament right there. I think your winner is going to come from one of those 3.
Okay.
I really do believe that. The next 3 are
always right.
The Florida, 7.5%. Houston, I think that's who we picked. Remember, did we pick that?
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, you were thinking Houston.
Did I pick Houston in basketball in college or in the pros? I picked it in pros.
Oh, right? You're right. That's what I'm mixing up.
I don't think I picked them.
Houston Rockets in the NBA.
Yeah. But Houston, I knew was going to be good this year. So Houston, 5.7%, and UConn, 3.4%. So Duke, Arizona, Michigan are the heavyweights right now out of the gate of those who have. Now, again, these are just fans like us picking. So, know, what do they know? But I do think they've got the top 3 teams from my best vantage point, one of those 3 teams. But I really feel in my heart of hearts this year, I think I could get my dream. I think I'm feeling some chaos. I'm feeling some real disruption. I'm feeling like some of these top teams are going to get bounced.
That's your dream, is just to see the mighty fall?
I like to see some of them fall. I like seeing I wouldn't mind seeing I don't know, let's see some of my favorites, but I don't mind seeing even Gonzaga make another. St. Mary's to make a run, a California team, the old Western Athletic Conference, they're a 7 seed. There's some Gonzaga's a 3 seed though. It's not like they're a bad team. Utah State, number 9 seed. I'd like to see them win a couple of games. They have the potential. They got an exceptional player there. So there's some fun teams on here that I think could upset some of at least the top 4 seed ranking teams. So I just like to see a little, some craziness in there. Iowa State, that's another team that could go far. They could upset a lot. They play a little bit of a different brand of ball, and they're really good.
You're avoiding BYU.
So
you don't have any hopes for them?
Yes, I was going to wrap up. Well, BYU is not the team they were early in the year. They lost their key players to injury. So yeah, I guess we ought to say that's why I got to say 2 things. NC State, like I said, let's hope they got to play Texas to get in the play-in game. So NC State got what they deserved. I am the true Red fan my whole life, but they stunk it up at the very end of the season. I mean, they lost to Stanford. They lost a couple of teams. All they had to do was win one of them, and they would have been a normal 6 seed or 7 seed or 8, something like that. They would have been okay. Wow. But now, because they stunk it up so bad, they won. At least they did win one game in the ACC tournament that probably got them into this play-in game. But even their own coach said, we got what we deserve. We should have won 2 or 3 of those games at the end of the season. Because they were in great shape the first half of the season. First 2/3 of the season, they were in great shape.
Then they have the opportunity to play into the bracket.
They do. They got to beat Texas. So that's our team that I care about. And then BYU being a 6 seed, they play. This is the hard part. Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up. So this sucks for me and Keaton and other. So hopefully State will beat Texas, right? and then they have to play BYU.
Yep.
So there's a good chance
your
opening
two favorite
game,
teams.
my two favorite teams got to play. Of all the matchups, 32 teams, 32 game matchups, we're going to get probably BYU and NC State in the very first game. Okay,
so what is your
I think BYU would probably beat State. I really
where
do.
does your heart lie? That's what I want to know.
That y'all hit me. I know you're after me. I told this. It's hard. I can't say. If Grandpa Keith was alive, I couldn't say it because I'm afraid there'd be no inheritance for the whole family. My heart probably. It's hard. It's hard. BYU is probably my. It's hard.
If you had to pick,
if I had to pick, I'd probably pick BYU because I graduated from there. I've been a fan since I was 10 years old when my oldest brother, Effie, went to BYU in 1970. So I've been a fan ever since then. When he brought back my first BYU Cougar sweatshirt, it had a little cougar up front cub and a little tail wagging on the back. He brought that for Christmas when I was 10 years old.
That's awesome.
So I go back to, and then I like State all through my teen years and all my life. So I would probably say BYU because I'm a graduate of BYU and I've loved their team.
Yeah.
So, but the gods of the brackets really messed with us there.
Well, we'll see if they even make it to that matchup, but yeah, that will be hilarious if that happens.
And by the way, Carolina, our other team around local, we got to mention Carolina. I would give them a good run, but their star freshman's out. He got injured last week. No, okay. Out jamming the ball in practice, broke his thumb on the rim. So he's gone.
Jamming the ball?
Yeah, stuffing it.
Like
dunking?
Dunking. Okay.
Yeah, like dunking. If you want to see jamming.
I guess I've heard jamming maybe.
Sure.
There's no way kids are saying that today though.
You say jam a lot more than you do dunk.
Dunk?
Yes.
Really?
Old men like me say dunk. Jamming.
All right, we're going to put this to the people.
Yeah.
Even Googling it, I'm seeing jamming is a defensive tactic is what this says.
No, not jamming the ball.
So, yeah, people leave a comment. Let us know. Is it
a jam, a slam dunk?
I'm sure.
Slam dunk. But jamming the ball is jam. Yeah, jam. Yeah. Look at.
All right, we're gonna get a straw.
Put it to the
on
people.
That one.
Yep. Put it to the people. Put it to the people. Of course, some of our people, I don't trust them knowing what it is either. So that's funny.
Well,
anyway, that's how I finished that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for the download, and this is one of the more exciting moments in sports throughout any given year. So keep an eye out on March Madness news and. Dad, we'll come back to this week and see how everybody's feeling.
Yeah, but when we come back, we'll have the Sweet 16 teams. So we'll know who the final 16 teams are next week. Yeah,
we can hone down our stories a little bit more once the tournament gets a little smaller. But I did want to say we do have a SportSense bracket group again. So it's open. I think as many people as we want can join it. So I will share a link on social. There will be a link in the show notes below. So just click on that. And if you need help creating a bracket, text me, or I might even post a little tutorial to Instagram. So
fun.
Super easy, and it's fun to just play the odds. It's and just for pride and just to have something to talk about on the podcast. So join our bracket group. Okay.
Hey, and by the way, for those of you who join the bracket group, you don't have to painstakingly pick every choice. There's ways to choose. There's a whole section.
Smart pick or whatever.
Smart pick. And there's a whole area where you can copy your favorite, which maybe a lot of you don't have, favorite ESPN announcer or whatever. You can copy their bracket and put it in there.
Okay.
There's lots of fun ways to just click once or twice and your bracket's in. And you still got your name in there having fun. If you don't want to painstakingly go through every game.
Yeah.
Just a little tip.
Watching. Yeah, that's a good tip. I love watching the stats. Like statistically, this is such a fascinating little experiment every year to see how many people of the millions who submit brackets, how many get it right. Isn't it like most years, like not even anyone gets it perfectly right?
Correct. To have a perfect bracket, no.
Yeah. So it's statistically almost impossible. So
in fact, it's always they're waiting to see when is that last perfect bracket busted. That's their whole thing. They're talking about when is that what game busts the last perfect brackets.
Right.
That's another watch. Like you say, a statistical fun watch.
Yeah. So that's honestly my favorite part of March Madness.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, everybody tune in next week to get caught up on March Madness, and we will talk to you soon. Okay.
See you, buddy. Love you.
Bye, Dad. Love you.
SportSense.